because it's a time and a place for everything. I'm not gonna say he's right and I'm not gonna say he's wrong. You know, but it's so crazy. When he spoke about it, I could have easily came out and said, yeah, you spoke about it. I ain't have to say nothing.
People, more fighters that probably were afraid of him are not going to be afraid of him anymore.
I really don't know. Anything can happen, man. You know, possibility. Possibility. I would love to see a rematch, but it may happen, it may not, you know.
Floyd Mayweather recently shared his thoughts on the upcoming rematch between Gervonta "Tank" Davis and Lamont Roach. He criticized Tank's performance in their first fight and said the rematch shouldn't even be happening. In response, Davis didn't hold back. He accused Mayweather of being selfish and not giving other fighters their due credit. According to Davis, Mayweather's lack of support comes from jealousy and a desire to stay in the spotlight himself.
First of all, Floyd don't never want to see no one like a fighter do better than them. Why the say Terrence Crawford should fight Benavidez? That don't make no fucking sense. He don't never want to see nobody be better than him. I'm telling you.
Next in line. He's next in line.
Is there like a
the last question, guys, gotta wrap
is there like a love-hate though? Like
yeah,
fighter?
Yeah, I love the fighter. Like, I ain't gonna lie, if he was like chill, like he'll be the smoothest, but he's not. You know what I mean? He's a great fighter. And my bad. And
you're good, man.
And he cause I don't want to say like he's just a scumbag, but it's like he's a great fighter, and sometimes he can be good, but it's like it's always I'm this.
Gervonta Davis's split from Mayweather Promotions didn't happen quietly. It was filled with drama and public disagreements between him and Floyd Mayweather. Their falling out made it clear that they had very different ideas about how Davis's career should be handled. The whole situation shed light on the behind-the-scenes power struggles in boxing and showed how tough it can be for fighters to choose between having control over their careers or sticking with big names who offer support and exposure.
Tank said, I'm not signed to a single soul. So is Tank now a free agent, or is he still signed with Mayweather Promotions?
Well, this is the Mayweather-Deji press conference. So I'm here to talk about Dubai. I'm here to talk about entertaining the people, having fun, and I'm not here to talk disrespectful or bad about any fighter. You know, they say America is the land of the free. You know, so we live, we love, and we keep striving each and every day. That's what life is about.
Boxing legend Bernard Hopkins recently gave his take on Gervonta Davis's career. He said Davis needed to free himself from the control of Mayweather Promotions, which he felt was holding Davis back. According to Hopkins, Mayweather had too much say in Davis's decisions, stopping him from reaching his full potential. Now that Davis has moved on from Mayweather's camp, Hopkins believes he finally has the freedom to call his own shots, including whether to take a rematch with Lamont Roach. With that independence, Hopkins thinks Davis can truly grow and succeed, making choices based on what he wants, not what others expect.
Maintain on saying, hey, this is my career, you had yours, I respect you from buying me a chain, buying me this, buying me that, take me on a jet. Now, all that's great, but at the end of the day, I'm only going by his interview. You seen it and I seen it. Thank you, Floyd Mayweather, for all the things you gave me. If the intentions was you just looking out for me. But I got an opportunity to fight this big fight. And this soap opera between you and Oscar for all these years, I'm not gonna let it affect me. That's my interpretation. And Tank wants to do the fight, but he had to break away from the chains of somebody he still respects and respected then. And he said, man, I gotta do what I gotta do. This is my career.
The first fight between Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roach stirred up a lot of controversy, especially around the referee's decisions. Steve Willis, the official for the match, was heavily criticized for not giving Roach credit during key moments, which many feel influenced the outcome. The bout ended in a disputed draw, leaving fans and analysts divided. In response, Davis pushed back against the criticism and welcomed a rematch to settle the score. He made it clear he's ready to step back into the ring to prove himself and quiet any doubts about his talent. With the first fight leaving so many questions, the stage was perfectly set for a rematch, and Davis was all in.
I don't know what the just happened. You're a referee. Yeah, you should have seen what's going on. Why I would, if I'm in the corner, I'm erratic in between rounds. What was your feeling in between rounds when you seen that?
We was going off. My assistant coach, Ben Johnson, he was going off on it. Like, hey Steve, what the wrong with you? He was cursing him out and everything. It was like, that was a knockdown. Yeah, he just stood off and waved us off, and he was like,
yeah, because for me, one person would have been having to deal with Lamont, and the other would have been the whole 60 seconds.
Yeah, that's how it was. I was dealing with him, and my man Ben was dealing with the rough.
Right.
We got his attention along with the low blows as well. I was like, how many blows you gonna let us hit us with before we take a point? And then he finally warned him like in the 11th round.
That's crazy. Is there anybody in boxing media or media in general, because nobody picked you guys to win at all? Nobody. I mean, I seen you guys go on promotional tours from whether it was boxing podcast to the Breakfast Club. Nobody picked you guys to win. Like, when you get a second, you grab me a water. Sorry. And is there anybody that you got, I know because it's more than one person, but is there anybody, thank you, that you took personal out of all the interviews that you did? Is it one or two people or three people that you be like, this right here, anybody else, but I want to prove this one person wrong?
It's not necessarily that I wanted to prove them wrong, so I wanted everybody to shut the fuck up, for real.
Yeah.
Like, but I already said it.
Gervonta Davis is determined to set up a rematch with Lamont Roach, knowing that the first fight left a mark on his reputation. For Davis, this isn't just another bout, it's a chance to show he's the better fighter, finish what was left unresolved, and remind everyone why he's considered one of the best in the world.
We gotta talk about it. So, Tank officially came out and says that he wants to put this rematch as early as May. Now, if that were to happen, Lamont Roach gets a second time to prove himself. Now, in my personal opinion, his stock has already risen. He is already known, but the fact that he went toe-to-toe with Tank on a decision that ended in a draw, whether he loses this second fight or not won't even matter. Because he's directly in line to go against the Keyshawn Davis, the Shakur Stevensons, and etc., the Devin Haney's, and etc. I can see him moving up and going against Devin Haney or Ryan Garcia or somebody like that. So many people to fight. Lamont Roach has definitely proven himself. But let's talk about something else. And that is the hairstylist situation. In my humble opinion, I believe she should have been quiet. As a hairstylist, there was nothing for you to say. No fan in boxing was going to look at them like, I don't want her braiding my hair. No one would have said that. But she hurt herself when she came out and publicly made multiple claims on all these receipts that no one needed, no one asked for, saying, oh, this had no grease or oil in it. No one cares. Nobody even believes it. Sometimes it's best to remain quiet. But you guys let me know in the comments. Should she have remained quiet, or should she have did what she did, which is spoke up? You let me know.
Jeff Mayweather, Floyd's uncle, shared his thoughts on the surprising outcome of the first Davis vs. Roach fight. He admitted he didn't expect things to play out the way they did. Still, Jeff made it clear he's a strong supporter of Gervonta Davis and didn't believe the result was a robbery. That said, he acknowledged that Roach's strong showing did affect how people see Davis. Fighters who once hesitated to face him might now feel more confident, putting a spotlight on whether Davis still holds the same dominance in the ring.
First of all, you're surprised that everybody's wanting to see a rematch between these two, because no one expected it to be a close fight in the first place.
That much is true. And me, myself, I mean, I'm a big Tank fan. And I was shocked. At the outcome of the fight.
Who did you have winning the fight?
I had Roach winning the fight.
Do you consider robbery, or do you lean Roach and are cool with the draw?
I wouldn't say it was a robbery. I mean, the fight was close. But if I was a judge, I would have gave Roach the fight.
All right. Well, talking about this rematch, what do you? I mean, so the one thing Tank always had for him, everyone, he had that kind of almost like Mike Tyson-esque, right? The air of invincibility, the knockout power. People were scared of him, that kind of thing. Do you think what Roach did to him, moving up in weight, you know, and not being a big puncher himself, you know, but able to withstand Tank, that kind of his air of invincibility has maybe been slightly diminished?
I won't say it's been diminished, but I do think that more people, more fighters that probably were afraid of him are not going to be afraid of him anymore.
And do you think that's almost something that could play in Tank's hand, right? Maybe we had an off day, you know, everybody has an off day, and you know, take him.
Yeah, everybody can have off night, but I think the one thing that is the most important thing that nobody's talking about is the fact that
the decision to hold the rematch in Las Vegas pays tribute to the city's rich boxing history. While some fans, used to seeing Davis fight in Saudi Arabia, had their doubts, the upcoming June showdown is still building major buzz. Boxing fans around the world are eagerly awaiting what promises to be a high-stakes rematch.
The good rumor is that Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roach are going to be rematching possibly June 21st in Las Vegas. I don't know if, you know, Vegas just wanted to fight off the publicity, especially with Turkey taking a lot of fights over to Riyadh. Or they didn't want to return back to New York State Athletic Commission after they did Lamont Roach dirty. But Lamont said the terms were already agreed on for a rematch. He just had to sign it, so it seemed like, you know, it's going to be this Vegas summer blockbuster. It's probably going to be the biggest fight of the year as far as in the United States. So it'll be interesting. Nevada State Athletic Commission don't play, but we'll see how it goes. Let me know what y'all.
Shakur Stevenson, one of the top names in the lightweight division, shared his thoughts on the upcoming Davis vs. Roach rematch. Having sparred with Lamont Roach before, Stevenson believes Roach might have the edge in a second fight. He highlighted Roach's unique style, saying it brings something different, something Davis hasn't really had to deal with in the ring before.
What does the rematch look like between Lamont and Gervonta, you think?
I like Lamont in the rematch.
You were one of the few that kind of picked Lamont to begin with. Why was that?
I sparred with Lamont. I knew that he was a good fighter. He helped me get ready for the Oscar Valdez fight. And I knew his style, with Tank style, what he was going to be able to bring to the table. I knew it. So,
did you really win 20 rounds?
I swear to God, on my daughter's life, I won that much money.
How different does a rematch look in your opinion, Shakur? What adjustments do you think we see from both?
Huh?
What adjustments do we see from both in a rematch?
I think I can't tell you game plans. I could be fighting these guys, so I'm gonna keep my secrets to myself. But truthfully, they both good fighters.
Do you think it's a lot different rematch, or do you think it'll be close again?
It's gonna be a hell of a fight.
How did you see Tank in that fight? A lot of people are saying maybe he's just mentally not there. What did you see?
Nah, he was the same Tank. I don't believe that. I don't got no thought in my brain that makes me think that he wasn't the person he been all of these other fights. I think he was the same person. All this stuff that he going through stuff. I mean, everybody go through stuff. So he's the same fighter. He's going to be the same fighter throughout his career. So
Lamont Roach hasn't been quiet about his frustration with how the first fight against Gervonta Davis was handled. He's openly criticized referee Steve Willis, claiming the official missed several key moments where Roach should have earned points. Roach believes those missed calls weren't just mistakes, they were biased, and they played a big role in how the fight ended.
You know, obviously the part with the grease in the eye, that took on a life of its own, you know what I'm saying? That was a headline in the fight. One is, what did you think when he said that initially, just like the grease in the eye? But two is like, when you was in the fight, was there any point that you saw that? Like, did you see like him kind of messing with his eye, or did you have any indication that that was something that was bothering him?
No, see, and that's the thing. If you look at the whole fight, he was never bothering his eyes before
you jabbed him.
Before I jabbed him. Even that right hand that, like, you know what I'm saying, that kind of landed, he kind of rolled with it. But after that, you could see him wipe his eye. And then, right after I hit him with the jab, you could see him wipe his other eye. So it's like, it was corresponding to which hand that I punched him with and exactly which eye. So it's like crazy for him to say, it's grease in my eye. And I think even when he say that, you could see me, because I'm right beside him, you could see me like, nigga, what you talking about? So,
right. But you say you don't think he willing though.
Whatever. See, but who cares? Like, sweat gonna get in your eye, blood gonna get in your eye.
Yeah, it don't matter.
Spit fuck around and get in your eye. You know what I'm saying? But it's not like you can be like, all right, time out, ref. Hold on,
take
ref.
no time out.
You can't do that.
Right. Would you be cool with Steve Willis doing the next fight?
Hell no.
He can't do the next fight.
No, he can't do the next fight.
Right.
No.
Pops, it's a no?
Hell no.
Yeah, fuck that nigga.
Yeah. You know how many Coach Ben on him, man. He lucky he ain't running Coach Ben after that fight.
But look how many times he fucked the fight up though. Right. The knee, him going to the corner to get assistance, like who knows? Not saying that they did any cheating shit or nothing like that, but like he wiped his face with a towel. You can't do that.
Right.
You can't do none of that.
Right.
That's a disqualification. You turned your back on the ref after you took a knee. Usually the ref will be like, all right, he don't want to fight no more. Fight's off.
Bogiannis, the father and trainer of rising star Jaron "Boots" Ennis, shared his thoughts on the first Davis vs. Roach fight. He felt that Gervonta Davis should have been disqualified for an illegal knee during the bout, but instead, the system seemed to work in Davis's favor, giving him an advantage. Bogiannis also noted that the referees appeared to favor Davis, which, in his opinion, led to an unfair result.
Saying that he won the fight, you know what I mean? You know, and then that when he took that knee, that really was supposed to be a disqualification. You know what I mean? And then you can't go to the corner and get your eyes wiped, you know what I mean, with a towel and all that. You know what I mean? Anybody else would have got disqualified. Or getting points taken away. Some, you know what I mean? So other than that, you know what I mean, that's where I look at it.
As far as game plans go, how should Gervonta Davis approach this fight?
I think something might have been on Tank mind. You know what I mean? Because he didn't fight the way he normally fight. To me. I mean, that's the way it looked to me. You know what I mean? He looked like something was on his mind. He was worrying about something. I mean, but he still fought good, though. You know what I mean? But like he normally do. You know what I mean?
If you're Lamont, do you press the action early, or do you do exactly what you did in the first fight? Whereas they'll press him after round 6, round 7, round 8.
I think he needs to press the fight more and stay busy. You know what I mean? You know, because he looked good. Like I said, both of them look good. You know what I mean? Can't take nothing away from neither one of them. That was a beautiful fight, man.
Should the rematch happen next, or should Tank maybe take a Shakur, a Lomachenko?
You said Tank?
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, if it don't happen next, you know what I mean? If it don't happen next, Lamont gonna wind up fighting Shakur.
Mikey Garcia, a former world champion, also shared his thoughts on the upcoming Davis vs. Roach rematch. Garcia believes Davis will make the necessary adjustments this time and avoid the mistakes he made in the first fight. He pointed out that Davis's ability to learn from past performances would likely give him an advantage in the rematch. However, Garcia also warned that if Davis was dealing with any mental distractions, he shouldn't step into the ring unless he was fully focused and prepared.
Hopefully, I think Tank wins in the rematch. Why? I think he'll make the right adjustments, and he won't take too long to fight. He kind of gave a lot of the round away sometimes. I think he'll be more active and he'll win. But big props to Roach for his last fight and performance. He suppressed everybody. Right. I think he was robbed from the victory. Again, that knockdown should have been a knockdown. Right. But whatever, he gets a rematch, you know. And maybe they get a third fight, you know, after that. Who knows?
Maybe it turns the markets back out.
Maybe it turns out to be another great fucking matchup, and they say, you know what, let's run it back.
Right.
And maybe that controversy from the first fight actually helps Roach fucking get 3 fights out of it instead of just the one, or, you know, you never know. So, hey, things happen for a reason, and I think he did really well in his first one. Hopefully he puts on a great fight, even if he were to lose, but in a great fight, he'll get a third fight. You know?
Coach Kenny Ellis, who has worked with several notable boxers, offered his thoughts on the upcoming rematch between Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roach. Ellis wasn't overly confident about Davis's chances in the second fight, saying it would be a 50-50 contest. He recognized that both fighters have their strengths and weaknesses, and the outcome would largely depend on how each one adjusts to the other's style.
I really don't know. Anything can happen, man. You know, possibility. I would love to see a rematch, but it may happen, it may not. You know, life goes on. You know, life goes on.
What would you say if how would you feel like the media would per se see it if the fight wasn't to happen?
50-50.
Yeah.
50-50.
You would have people that wouldn't care, people that would care.
Yeah. Yeah, just like this. Some people say Lamont won. Some people say Tank won. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Teofimo Lopez, another big name in boxing, shared his thoughts on the aftermath of the Davis vs. Roach fight. Lopez pointed out that after the controversial draw, Davis found himself somewhat isolated, with many people questioning his place in the boxing world. The result led to increased scrutiny of Davis's career, and some fans and analysts were quick to criticize his abilities. Lopez suggested that the controversy had put Davis in a vulnerable position, with his reputation and status as a top fighter now in question. This added even more pressure on Davis as he prepared for the rematch, knowing the boxing community was watching closely to see if he could bounce back and prove himself in the ring.
I know a lot of people, look what they did with Gervonta too. I want everybody, all these young fighters that are listening to this, and you could clip this. It's a short part right here.
I got you.
To Ryan could clip this right here. To all you young fighters, look at the amount of love they were giving and sharing to Gervonta Tank Davis prior to the fight. Look at what all the reporters were doing prior to the fight. Look how they were all laughing at all his jokes prior to his fight against Lamont Roach. After the fight, look how many were waiting to down this man. Down him. See, I'm gonna talk my smack with Tank, but that's because I want to fight him. That's me. I can say that. But I just want all you young fighters to really look about it. They don't care about us.
Yeah.
They won't ever care about us. When you winning, they're gonna be there. But they're waiting for any moment to slip up. Just a man, even a draw. Look how much hate he got out of it.
Yeah, not to get deep, but you know, it's a part of our psychology. We have to learn how to care about other people. You know what I mean?